the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she refused to remove transgender protections from hate crimes legislation, praising LGBTQ activism. She expressed confidence that the Equality Act will eventually pass.
The Cleveland Clinic agreed to provide $2 million in detransition services and limit most gender-affirming care for minors after a DOJ settlement, drawing criticism from trans advocates and LGBTQ activists.
LGBTQ plus advocates warn that Tennessee's new law limiting doctors' gender identity questions for minors could harm queer youth, restrict medical care, and silence critical mental health conversations.
A Texas county's commissioners reject a resolution honoring an LGBTQ health center despite its free healthcare services, HIV prevention work, and more than $70 million in care.
A new Booking.com survey found that many LGBTQ plus travelers still hide their identities while vacationing despite positive travel experiences and growing visibility worldwide. All this important LGBTQ plus news and a whole lot more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the Rainbow family. There is no other news program like the LGBTQ plus Queer News Tonight.
That's right, John. It is Wednesday, June 10th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out South Florida.
This year, our magazine celebrates 41 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ plus television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ plus events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
This year, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor TriniDaddy. He's a violinist and pianist with the Miami City Ballet and is the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead. Welcome back to the table, Trini. I know that you wanted to share some sad news from the theater world today.
Yeah, the South Florida theater community lost one of its brightest stars, Toddra Brunson, who was an incredible actress, an incredible singer, mover, panelist on current events, fashion icon, organized walks, runway walks for plus-size models. I mean, she just did everything. One of those performers from, like, you'd say the 60s, you know, where you had to do everything in order to make yourself famous, you know?
Of course.
She had all of that, and she worked with just about every theater company in South Florida. So this was so unexpected this weekend, and everybody is reeling and just devastated by the loss. Toddra didn't have a lot of the formal training that many actors did. She didn't have a BFA. She didn't go to school for music or theater or anything like that. She had some talent when she was in high school, she recognized, and then she had her 4 kids. And in her 40s, decided,
all that with 4 kids?
Yeah, well, she didn't do any of that during that time. And then in her 40s, she decided that she wanted to try it out. And so I was her musical director for about 3 years at Seminole Theater. And she was just phenomenally talented, and she of course outgrew us. She has a show on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
She was just doing such big things, and she would tell me, I'm about to get on Broadway, I'm about to do a Tyler Perry movie, I know all I need is that one in, and she had the talent to do all of that. Outside of her being so talented, she was that person that when she walks into a room, everybody takes notice because she has that kind of style, and she goes to every single person in the room. How are you, baby? I'm so glad to see you today. I'm so glad to meet you. She was the person I cut up with the most. Everything was a joke. Every time after rehearsals, spending the nights at my house when we had early theater rehearsals the next day, it was just nonstop cackling about every single thing. I mean, you see a roach outside somewhere, and we make a joke about it. And she's just one of those people where you immediately meet them, and I knew that we would be friends for the rest of our lives. We talked about what it was going to be like in the nursing home, listening to Two Live Crew and Luke, and giving the nurses hell. So everybody has been affected in the South Florida theater community, and particularly me. I lost a sister, so I just wanted to take an opportunity to give her props.
So deserved, so gifted, so amazing. Like, I've seen her name pop up so much in my social media feed. Toddra is going to be missed. Highly missed. I could just feel it right now. And I know that you folks are going to put together something, a memorial of some sort for her.
Yeah, she has a GoFundMe on her daughter's page, and it's been circulating. You can look at any of the major theater companies. I know Fantasy Theater Factory, Seminole Theater Players, Slow Burn, yes. Yeah, so they've all posted tributes and are posting the link for the GoFundMe. So if you have the means to do it, if you could support her family, because there's
4 kids. I mean, now they're young adults, but still.
Yeah, and one that's severely disabled in a wheelchair that's going to need help and care. So anything you could contribute would be wonderful.
Well, I have to say, I know she's smiling down from heaven because I didn't know her, but listening to you talk about how she was as a human being and your relationship, I'm just so touched in this moment. And I know she is smiling from heaven.
She's giving you a big ass hug right now.
Thank you.
And that's style, baby. My Lord, Miss Brunson. I'm gonna be looking up everything that you did. I'm gonna be like your biggest fan now, and you definitely will be missed. And TriniDaddy, thank you for being back at the table here with us, especially after getting some news like that.
Thank you all.
I appreciate it.
Let's welcome back to the table my sister. That's Rajee Narinesingh, a famous transgender activist, actress, author, mystic, and reality TV personality. She's an activist for Trans Social and so many other organizations that if I started naming them, it's a 1-hour show, Faye. Welcome back to the show, Rajee. Happy Pride. How have you been celebrating?
Thank you. Oh my God, you always make me feel so welcome. And it's great to be back.
Right?
Yes.
You can't stay away too long, Rajee.
I love sharing the table with you three. I love it. We just have a great vibe. So it's Pride Month.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still here.
Okay,
even
yes,
though
ma'am.
I feel like I'm 99 years old sometimes. But I said, no, I'm not going to sit the parade out. I was considering it. And I'm like, no, visibility is so important, especially right now with everything going on. So I will be there. I'll be wearing a really extra strong bra because it's going to be a long day.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot, and I'm going to be on that float waving and giving my love to all of the community.
So whose floor are you going to be on?
Well,
Is it a surprise?
Well, no, I can say.
Oh, okay.
Everyone knows Boo Boo. Mr. Boo Boo from the Pride Center.
Oh,
And
yes, of course.
And they invited me again to be on the Pride Center float.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
Mr. Boo doesn't do anything half-assed. Okay, so
that's right.
that float's going to be badass. It might even have AC.
And I'll be looking for you, Faye, because I know you'll be hosting.
I'll be announcing the parade, so you know how crazy I get when I see Rajee, where I'm usually like, and next up, we've got this organization. We're so happy for everything that you do. Yay. And then I see it, and Rajee! And then I'm like, oh, God! We stopped the whole parade just for Rajee.
And I want to say, I'm so glad you made the decision to be in the parade, because the first time I saw you on TV, before I met you here, anything, I thought you had the most amazing vibe. And I said, I really hope I meet this woman. And I had no idea that you were TriniDaddy as well.
Hey.
So when I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's Trini as well. Maybe that's why. All of us Trini.
That started.
You felt the Trini vibe, right?
Yeah, maybe that was something like that. So
Yes.
thank you for being and representing. You're such a great
Thank you
face
for
to put on.
saying that. Thank
Well,
you.
we love you, Miss Rajee, and thank you for being back at the table at Queer News Tonight. We got to welcome John Hayden back to the table, baby. He's a journalist for 31 years. He now focuses on hyper-local reporting covering LGBTQ plus issues, Wilton Manors, Lauderdale by the Sea, Fort Lauderdale, and Oakland Park. You can see all his reports at Greater Wilton Manors on YouTube and Facebook. So, John, the Gay Men's Chorus annual Pride concert is next Friday. I can't believe it's almost here, June 19th. But this is no ordinary concert. Tell me what's happening out.
You're right, Faye. It is a special concert indeed. This marks the 10th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre. 49 dead, 53 wounded, and a community scarred forever. The first act will be a new work titled Amor Eterno, a requiem for Pulse. The piece was commissioned by the chorus and will make its debut at the show. It was written by LA-based composer Sonder Choi. A native of the Philippines, he moved to America to pursue the American dream. He told me that vision was shattered by the Pulse murders.
And I think when Pulse happened, you know, that was my 4th year since moving to the US. I was still at school. I was doing my master's program at USC. And I was in a city where I could I relatively had the freedom to express my gender identity. And when that happened, I think it kind of broke some sort of glass. It kind of broke that version of a free America a little bit for me as an immigrant. And I was just really affected by that at that time. I wrote a piece called American Breakfast. And the text basically likened gun shooting, because it was happening so often that it's like breakfast in America. And so I had a piece called American Breakfast that responded kind of to that event.
Tickets for the show on June 19th at the Broward Center are still available at GMCSF.org. And you can see my full interview with Sonder at Greater Wilton Manors on YouTube, and it really is worth a watch. The way he goes into detail about how he draws inspiration from Brahms' Requiem, also known as the German Requiem, and talks about how each of the 7 movements will sort of mirror that, and how this, while many requiems at the time and still today focus on the dead, this one focuses on the mourners, the people who survived, the people who lived, and deal with this. So it's going to be a very moving concert. Not easy, perhaps, but certainly important.
But important, super important. And the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, they don't do anything like want, wishy-washy.
Right.
Let's stay away from that because we shouldn't talk about that. That's not how they roll, right? They are going to present what they need and feel we need to feel and need, right? So Pulse happened. you know, and we haven't had like a commemorative kind of concert or anything like that in our area in a long time, and it's really needed, and it should never be forgotten. That being said, I also was promised like some pop music. I was also promised like some get up out of my seat and dance music. That's what Edward told me.
Yeah.
So is that still going to happen?
The
also?
second half is going to be a much more upbeat celebration of queer culture, queer music. I don't know the playlist, but like think like I'm Still Standing and Staying Alive and all that fun stuff that celebrates our community. So yes, definitely go out during intermission, get a wine, get a cocktail, come back and get ready to rock out queer style.
Okay, so there's still some tickets left. We can go to GMCSF.org.
There are some, yes. They're playing the Broward Center, the big room, and it's the first time they've had this size venue because they knew there was going to be a lot of demand for it. So yes, absolutely, get your tickets.
I love that. All right, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida annual Pride concert on June 19th.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspot's Happening Out, The FayWhat Show. Welcome to the show, Faye.
Hi, thank you so much, baby. So I just want to give a big shout out going out to Christopher Hamblin and his beautiful, incredible partner in life, one of my favorite queens ever, Miss Latrice Royale. All right, Miss Latrice Royale is in a new movie, right? A drag movie, baby. Stop That Train, okay? And you've got to go see it. It comes out June 12th, I believe, right? And she gave me this fan because she's like, girl, you look sweaty. I forgot how hot it is in Miami. I'm like, don't you live in Miami too, Latrice? She goes, yup, I forgot. I had curled this hair for nothing. I was like, I know the feeling, girl. No, but it was, you know, I went to her mini preview thing yesterday at the Palace South Beach. Thank you, AJ, and the whole crew over there for being so welcoming. I dragged Jason Nunez, one of our anchors, and Dale Stein, another one of our anchors, down there to South Beach. We hadn't been to South Beach in a while. And we had a freaking blast. I definitely am looking forward to seeing this movie just because it looks hysterical. One last thing. Do you remember the days when movies were less than 2 hours? Right? Now every movie is 4 hours long. Well, you know what? Stop That Train, an hour 38.
There you go.
You're welcome.
That's it. Yeah.
See you all at the movie. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up trans rights. Nancy Pelosi defends keeping trans protections in federal hate crimes law. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she refused calls to remove transgender protections from federal hate crimes legislation, even when told it would make the bill easier to pass. In an interview with the Washington Blade, Pelosi recalled lawmakers urging her to compromise on trans inclusion. Pelosi said, quote, "People told me you can pass this in a minute if you take out trans. I said, I won't pass it in 100 years because I'm not ever taking out trans," end quote. Pelosi reflected on nearly 4 decades of LGBTQ advocacy and argued that public activism played a key role in advancing federal protections. She said, quote, "Anything that we accomplished, whether it was fighting HIV and AIDS, ending discrimination, passing hate crimes legislation, or ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell, would never have happened without outside mobilization," end quote. The longtime Democratic leader also shared that the HIV/AIDS crisis was one of the defining issues early in her congressional career after taking office in 1987. She added that the epidemic changed attitudes in many American families. She said that, quote, "When families learned that a son or daughter was HIV positive and gay, barriers started to break down," end quote. Pelosi also addressed the Stalled Equality Act, which would expand federal anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ Americans. Despite the challenges, she said she believes the Equality Act will eventually become law. Say what you want to say about Nancy Pelosi. One, she looked really hot back in the 80s, okay? But when folks told her to throw trans people under the bus for an easier win, she said, hell no. That's called allyship. That is an ally. You know, I mean, it's not just writing a happy pride post during this month. That is how you support the LGBTQ plus community. Everybody loves equality until it's time to risk something for it. And she was always willing to do so.
Exactly, because you know what? You can talk, but I don't look at talk. I look at actions. And she has stood her ground for us. And I really appreciate that because I've seen during this time, even in our community, people have been quick to turn their back on the trans community. Thank God for the ones that have been, there for us, loyal.
Yeah.
But I've seen it. So this just means the world to me that I've always liked her, but now I like her even more,
Well, I think that there's special props to go to people who have been fighting the fight from the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was around in the 80s and like
were you 2 years old?
Yeah.
But he was around,
No,
Roger.
I'm old. I was born in the 70s. But I just remember how taboo it was back then. And if anybody voiced support for gay people, it was like the Christian organizations. What was her name? The one with the pie in the face.
Anita Bryant.
Yeah, like all those people. I mean, like you got such backlash. Just Ellen in the late 90s.
Wow, yeah.
Like, just saying she was gay. Her character was like canceled a
Ended her
show.
career for that time. Yeah.
And so for people to be standing so hard for the LGBTQ plus community back in the 80s and like writing for them, it's like those people really understood what it was like to get arrows just slung at them. And they still stood in the face, and said, no, I'm not backing down. So special props to people like her and Bernie Sanders and those who are always on our side to help us be able to walk in public today.
Yeah.
So, okay, we all know I kind of love politics a little bit. So can I get into the weeds and talk about how this will still move forward? I don't think anybody a few years ago would have blamed her if she had taken out trans and gotten what you could for political expediency and for the better of the good of the whole community, right? Of the rest of the community. But what she did was she said, we're not taking trans out. Because if she takes trans out and everybody else moves forward, trans moves back politically. They move to the back of the line. Now, we still stand as a block. So when the political stars align and the Democrats have all three chambers, or, both chambers and the presidency again, we move as one. We don't have to drag trans all the way back to the front of the line. So we can say, well, we're doing it for the gays and the bis and the he and the L. We're also going to bring the T. So it really will pay benefits down the road. And we'll have to remember her again when it does finally pass.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm TriniDaddy, and let's queer up trans rights. Cleveland Clinic agrees to fund detransition care in DOJ settlement over trans youth treatment. The Cleveland Clinic agreed to provide $2 million in detransition care services as part of a settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice over allegations tied to gender-affirming care for minors. The agreement follows a 2025 federal investigation into claims that the hospital system falsely billed insurance providers for what the DOJ described as, quote, sex-rejecting procedures on minors, end quote, including puberty blockers, hormone therapy, surgeries, and voice modification treatments. Under the settlement, the Cleveland Clinic will also pay $308,000 to resolve billing allegations, though the hospital denied wrongdoing. The hospital also agreed not to offer most gender-affirming medical interventions to minors for the next 20 years at facilities across Ohio, Florida, Nevada, Canada, the United Emirates, and the United Kingdom. Some state laws already ban gender-affirming care for minors. The clinic also said that it already provides detransition services and that little will change operationally. A spokesperson confirmed gender-affirming care for adults will continue. The settlement requires the clinic to establish public resources for detransition services, including a dedicated webpage, phone number, and care coordinator within 30 days. Trans advocates criticized the agreement. Dara Atkinson, executive director of Trans Ohio, said, quote, the clinic is jumping to the front of the line to comply not with science and medicine, but with cruelty and anti-trans hate, end quote. So my understanding is in most hospitals, most clinics, they do not provide surgeries to minors.
Yeah.
They do provide counseling. And I think in extreme cases, they do the puberty blockers. And they do a few other more invasive procedures, but nothing like sexual reassignment surgeries. So I think that's somewhat of a talking point to try to get into the media to make it seem like it's far worse than it is. I think in most cases, I personally do not agree with any kind of surgical intervention when it comes to minors and transitioning, because I do think that there are risks that a child is not able to consent to and understand when it comes to long-term fertility, libido. I remember watching Jazz Jennings on her documentary, and she was one of the first outspoken people about where we knew her story. And then she talked a lot about the things that she wished she didn't do when she was younger. It doesn't mean that she wasn't trans and that there weren't things that could be done. I think ultimately, I'm not a Republican, but the more Republican conservative platform should be that your medical decisions are between you, your doctor, and the parents.
And the
you know?
parents,
and
yes.
they would only make those extreme puberty blockers or something like that in the most extreme of cases when all of them are in agreement with that, and that the government shouldn't be involved. But let me defer to the trans person at the table.
Oh wait. I'm trans. I'm cisgender. What? Okay. As far as what you said in regards to surgery before 18, I'm on board. I'm trans, and I also think that trans youth should wait, because it is a very drastic decision. You have to really think it through.
But they're not doing those surgeries.
No,
that's not happening. So let's not give people like wrong information.
Right,
because people have this sense that gender affirming care is surgery. Gender affirming care is therapy. Gender affirming care might be the blockers,
and let me just say with the blockers, that hormone testosterone is a MFer. And what I mean by that is, once puberty hits, the maleness comes in strong. If you're born male, right? So if you're a transgender female, you're born male, but you feel like a woman or a girl, and knows that puberty hits, it's so hard to reverse it. That's why you notice in our community, trans women aren't always as passable as the trans men.
It takes more time.
Because you're trying to reverse what puberty did when those male hormones hit. And that's really hard. Look at Jazz. She did the blockers, and you see how she just looks like a regular woman, and that had a lot to do with it, those blockers. Yeah. Because it didn't allow the maleness to come strong.
Out. So they kind of try to do that. You're saying like before puberty.
They try to do it a little before puberty hits so that you suppress the maleness. You don't have to deal with as much hair.
Yeah.
Again,
the secondary puberty characteristics.
Exactly. Because I'll tell you, up to about 13, I was a lot of times mistaken as a girl. Once 13 hit and the male hormone came in strong, then my maleness showed more. So I think that's one of the reasons, and it's not for everyone. I believe that it's a case by case. Yeah. And again, like you said, the parents need to be involved, of course, the doctor, and then the patient. And so, but what happens is, I think they try to take something like, we're making these kids transgender. Yeah. And that's totally wrong. Listen, I grew up with two heterosexual parents, okay? My sister's heterosexual, and I'm trans. Yeah. It's like you can't make someone trans or gay.
No.
You can't make them. You are who you are.
You are who you are.
It's in our hard wiring. It's in our hard wiring.
Yeah. The Trevor Project tells us every single year that gender affirming care does, helps kids, queer kids, right, not want to kill themselves.
Yep.
Period. Okay. Speaking to Jazz Jennings' mom, right?
Yeah.
Saying, my daughter came to me at 5 years old, 4 years old, and said, I'm a woman. Right? Yeah. How do you tell your child, right? Okay, you try to go, no, you're not. Let's continue, blah, blah, blah. You're fine. And then you see that evolution. I'm a woman, mom. I'm a girl, mom. I don't want, where the child is fearful of hitting puberty, deathly fearful.
Yeah.
Right? There's been cases where kids have threatened to cut certain body parts off.
Yeah.
That is how much they hate their body that they're in.
Yeah.
Because that's not who they truly are,
I would just like to say that, and I don't want to compare trans to vanity projects, but we're not having this discussion about teens who want a nose job for their sweet 16 or their
Yeah.
quince or their bar mitzvah.
Yeah, you're right.
People who feel that maybe their ears are a little too out and want some otoplasty. We're not having that discussion
Yeah.
at all. And those kids are also not fully developed. Their nose has not fully come in. You're still
Growing.
You're growing. You're still growing. So, I mean, honestly, this is a made-up crisis by fascists who want to do not good, but only harm. It is pointless, and you're not saving kids. They're suicides for people who voted for this. The suicides of these kids, their blood is on your hands, whether or not you ever bother to learn their name. You are a murderer.
Oh.
And BTW, less than 1% of people who transition later detransition. Okay, that's not a healthcare crisis, baby. That's a political talking point with an expensive price tag.
It is. I'm Rajee Narinesingh, and let's queer up trans right. Tennessee law barring doctors from asking kids about gender sparks LGBTQ plus backlash. Advocacy groups are warning that a new Tennessee law restricting doctors from asking minors questions about gender identity could harm LGBTQ plus youth and interfere with medical care. House Bill 1665, signed into law by Governor Bill Lee, takes effect in October. It requires doctors to notify parents before asking minors about what it defines as sensitive gender-related questions. It also blocks insurance companies and managed care providers from including gender-related questions on medical forms. The Tennessee Equality Project and Human Rights Campaign criticized the measure in a new report, calling it an unnecessary attack on queer people and a form of medical censorship. The group said, quote, "Everyone should be alarmed by the scale of government control over doctors and patients. Speech under the law," end quote. According to the report, supporters of the bill argued that asking children about gender identity could confuse or influence them into being transgender. However, there is no evidence that asking minors about gender identity causes someone to become transgender. It also argues that such conversations are critical for mental health care and prevention services. No Democrats voted for the legislation. Okay. Who in their right mind would choose to be transgender? I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. I'm crazy in a good way, but I am not crazy. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have chosen this life as hard as it's been. Now, I wouldn't change it because it's me and who I am, and it's what I believe I came to the planet to be. Mm. But if you had asked me, if someone had given me a look into the future and showed me how difficult it would be to live as a trans woman in this world at, like, let's say 16, 9 out of 10, I would have not chosen it.
Wow.
It is me. It's like I couldn't help it. And I don't think people can get it through their thick skulls that you don't choose it. It just is. I often, like, when I get into debates, I'll say to a straight person, what day, month, day, and time did you wake up and say, oh, I think I'll be straight? You didn't. You just are.
Yeah.
You just are. You don't, it's not a decision that we make. It's how we're wired. Mm. And so it is what it is. But I think people don't understand that what's natural for me might not be natural for Faye, or any of us. Mm-hmm. It's an individual thing. And this is natural for me.
Yeah.
I think it's just insane how conservatives and Republicans aren't outraged over this. They may not like trans people, they may not like the whole gender identity thing, but the idea that your local government can tell your doctor
Yeah.
that they're not allowed to ask you a question
Yes.
about gender. That's crazy.
When did
because they're-
politicians know more than doctors? Like, why aren't
Yeah.
we getting our scripts from politicians then? Why don't we
hello?
go to a politician's office to, check our sciatica?
And hello, the Republicans, what do they always say? Less government, less government. But then they want to
Exactly.
control
It's like the American
doctors.
Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association. These are the arbiters of what goes on, of what you should be asking. Of course, there's issues in the DSM when it comes to gender identity. They would say that it's a mental illness, right?
Yeah, they
And
do.
so you would then want a doctor to ask you those questions.
Yeah.
So that, even their own point of saying that we can't ask you a question about this undermines their whole thing that it's a mental disorder that needs to be diagnosed and treated. So the fact that they're just censoring that, it's just insane. And there should be a Supreme Court challenge to this as to why a local government could say to a doctor that you can't even ask a question.
I know.
And how many doctors anyways are asking those questions when you go in for care, right?
Not many.
And what if there is somebody who is, to their point, the fascist point of all right, somebody looks like they're maybe presenting as a female, but they're actually biologically male, that they would need to ask you the question.
Of course.
There are a lot of kids that kind of can look a little androgynous where you would ask a question like that. So the fact that you're just tying the hair, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're referring to Republicans from before 2008.
Before MAGA.
Before MAGA, what was the Tea Partiers before that? You're referring to them.
Yeah.
Today's Republican Party is all about enforcing their worldview,
Yeah.
their Christian nationalism, their bigotry on everybody else. That's what they're all about. And unfortunately, I don't even have to write new notes or talking points from the last story. This is a made-up crisis.
Yeah.
It is pointless. It is not saving kids. You said there's no evidence proving that just asking the question harms the kids. Well, you know what? Then let's find out. Let's ask the questions. Let them ask the questions, and then if we find out that pushed them over the edge and made them trans, well, then we'll revisit the conversation. But the fact is, knowledge is power. Republicans know that. The fascists know that, and that's why they're trying to cut it off at the head.
Yeah. And listen, as a queer youth growing up, there were many times I felt so ostracized. And if I had someone to talk to about it, maybe I wouldn't have had such a difficult time. And that's why our suicide rate is so high.
Yeah.
And they're not going to ask the question unless they have a reason to ask that
right.
question.
Yeah.
If they suspect there's something going on that they need to talk to your family or to talk to them about it, then they'll ask the question. But that's not a standard question that they're like, what gender do you identify when they come in for a cold or something?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm John Hayden, and let's queer up the USA View. GOP commissioners block LGBTQ health center recognition in Tarrant County, Texas. The group voted along party lines Tuesday, rejecting a resolution to honor Arlington's Help Center for LGBTQ plus health, the Fort Worth County's largest health center focused on servicing our community. The resolution praised the center for its outstanding service, compassionate care, and enduring contributions to the health, dignity, and wellness of the people of Tarrant County. According to the resolution, the center provided more than $70 million in medication, clinical services, and supportive care to 7,000 patients last year at no cost. Republican County Judge Tim O'Hare and Commissioners Matt Krause and Manny Ramirez voted against the measure to honor the center, while Democrat Commissioners Alyssa Simmons and Roderick Miles voted in favor. More than a dozen speakers spoke out, with supporters highlighting the center's healthcare services, including HIV preventive efforts, while opponents argued the resolution conflicted with, say it with me, biblical values. And that is the problem. We are being governed by myths. We are being governed by people who reject science for some big ATM in the sky that's going to fuel their life here on earth and determine if there's a hell, bitches, you're going to be burning in it.
Do you remember when there used to be a separation between church and state? At least a little one.
Oh, the good time.
Kids?
Exactly. I know. The Bible, you don't want me to get it started on the Bible. You just don't want me to. any religious book. It was written by men at the time.
And translated 40,000 million times.
Exactly.
And we were just
my
nicely
God.
excluded from certain places. Come on.
And not written at the time, written decades later,
Yeah.
after the fact.
Exactly.
That's like my dad telling me something today, and then I'll write about it in 20 years,
Yeah.
and we'll take that literally as gospel.
Yes.
And how many denominations are there that interpret it in so many different
So many
ways? So when
ways.
And they're
somebody
all the
says
chosen one. And they're all
biblical
the chosen one.
values, it's
Yes.
like, well, whose biblical values?
Yeah.
The Presbyterians over here,
Yep.
the USA, the non-denominational. Like, you know,
Whose?
you can't claim it that all of that interpretation is yours. And,
Yes.
you know,
Teachers do this in school. They line the kids up. They whisper in the
Telephone.
Yes. And then by the end of the last student, the message is completely different, or there might be a little similarity, but very different. And that's in the moment.
Oh, we got to play
Wait.
telephone after this. I'm FayWhat. Let's queer up the worldview. Booking.com survey finds most LGBTQ plus travelers hide identity while on vacation. A new global survey from Booking.com has found that more than 2/3 of queer travelers go back into the closet while on vacation. Booking.com's Travel Proud report surveyed 13,000 people, 13,000 LGBTQ plus travelers across 19 countries. According to the report, only 31% of respondents worldwide said they are openly queer while traveling. The survey also found that 40% of LGBTQ plus travelers are willing to hide their identities in order to visit a dream or bucket list destination. Researchers say safety and comfort remain major concerns. More than half of closeted LGBTQ plus travelers surveyed reported feeling less anxious while traveling, compared to 30% of LGBTQ plus travelers overall and 20% of polyamorous travelers. Despite ongoing concerns, many respondents also shared positive experiences overall. 82% of LGBTQ plus travelers said they experienced at least one positive identity-specific moment while vacationing in the past year. However, 58% said they encountered negative treatment during their travels. The findings highlight the continued challenges many queer people face when balancing safety, visibility, and self-expression while exploring the world. You know, I love to travel, okay? I really do, but I am never going to go anywhere where I have to call my wife my sister. All right. That's the thing. Okay. So they don't tell us which of the countries, these travelers were going to. Let me give you a list of places where FayWhat's not going. All right. I'm not going to Dubai. Nowhere. Nope. Okay. All the people that worked so hard to put that city together weren't even allowed to step foot in it. And many people died. Not going nowhere near Dubai. I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to Uganda. Guess what? Not going to Yemen or Russia either. You shouldn't be going to places that don't support our community.
Yeah.
well, to that point, I am the guy that has to hide a little bit when I go, because my family is in Trinidad. And even though they're going through some legislation now it was kind of decriminalized and then kind of recriminalized because the first decision didn't quite stand. In a process reason, they had to strike it down, but then they're going to go through the right channels to do it, something like that. But the main reason is that even though I may want to be out more, my family supports me. That's there, but it's such a high crime rate. And with something like Grindr, I might turn it on just to see who's in there, but it's location based.
Yeah.
So if there's it says, within 300 feet, these are small little village areas, and so when you're the new guy, people be, oh, that's the guy who somebody might find out who it is, and then they come to your house. And I don't want to put my family in that danger.
No way.
So that's something that I keep on the down low unless they say it's okay to say something about it.
But that's the safety of your family, though, of
Exactly.
course. And even and people are baiting cute gay boys like you. Also, the cops are doing that to get you to go somewhere and also arrest you. So you got to be careful for your own safety as well.
So I'm just saying, I know that you're mentioning travel for vacation purposes.
Well, that's
but a lot of us are traveling, to visit family or to visit, other reasons to be there that we don't want to endanger other people.
100%.
Listen, and
100%.
they act like it doesn't go on. This happened years ago, but I remember walking down Carapichaima Road in Orangefield, the village, and a guy was riding by on his bike. And he blew a kiss at me, and then he tried to get me to go into the sugarcane field. And you know what happens in the sugarcane fields? All kind of
sweet stuff.
Yes. but I wouldn't have gone. Before I got back home, my Aji, my grandmother, would have found out, because the village, they're small communities and stuff spreads like wildfire.
And everybody knows everybody.
Exactly.
And
so,
and I'm just going to say that whenever I travel, just to be safe, I travel under the name Hunter Thickwood. That's also my grinder name, Trini.
Well, I just want to say this too. For people that can hide, like me right now, I would pretty much be concerned about going anywhere, even in America, because you have to research the laws in regards to a trans person.
The bathroom, all that crap.
In whatever particular state. So
100%.
we're not only talking international travel, we're talking like domestic.
You're going in the closet too.
That's a good point.
If I can, and honey, some people can't. When you're trans, a lot of times you can't go in the closet.
Yeah. Wow. You're right. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the world view. Russia bans Call Me By Your Name and Love Simon over alleged LGBT propaganda. A Russian court ruled that 3 foreign films featuring LGBTQ themes cannot be legally distributed online. The banned titles include the 2017 romance Call Me By Your Name, the 2018 coming-of-age film Love Simon, and the 2013 drama Kill Your Darlings. According to the court, the films contain destructive ideologies and attempt to change viewers' attitudes toward LGBTQ people. The court said, quote, "It was established that web pages hosting the films contain information that promotes interest in non-traditional sexual relationships and seeks to change negative attitudes towards them into positive ones by disseminating such information," end quote. If a movie can topple your worldview, maybe your worldview wasn't that sturdy to begin with. Russia acting scared of Love Simon is like being threatened by a Hallmark card, okay? The closet really is government issued over there. Like, for real, it really makes no sense. You're going to think positively about LGBTQ. God forbid.
It reminds me of this one activist that said, "I'm glad I hate Brussels sprouts because if I liked them, I'd eat them, and I hate them." It's this circular logic of like, we can't show them to you because you might find out that they're not so bad. And we know that they're horrible, so we can't have them here, It makes no sense that they don't even say, why it's so destructive. It's just we know the gays are destructive and we just can't mention it,
It's true.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Orchestra Miami launches Saturdays at Trinity Chamber Music Series on June 13th. Orchestra Miami launches its new Saturdays at Trinity Chamber Music Series with La Musique Nouvelle, Art Nouveau music in France on Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. inside Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in downtown Miami. Presented in partnership with the cathedral's music ministry, the concert features Orchestra Miami soloists and acclaimed South Florida performers playing works by Gabriel Fauré, Francis Poulenc, Georges Bizet, Maurice Ravel, and Pablo Sarasate. The 80-minute program celebrates the lush sounds of French Art Nouveau music, followed by a post-concert gathering. Admission is pay what you wish, starting at $5. Learn more at orchestramiami.org. And by acclaimed artists, we mean me. I'll be performing.
Yes!
When I first saw this, I thought it was Saturdays at Trinity, and I was like,
That's what it should be there. If you've never been to Trinity Cathedral, it's probably the most cathedral-looking space in Miami, if you think about what the European cathedrals look like. So just when you enter the space, and it has that really long echo, reverb that's in there that's perfect for chamber music concerts. It just brings you back to a place in time to see a performance there. And we're going to be doing the Gabriel Fauré's first piano quartet in C minor. It's going to be a fantastic time. It is pay what you can afford, starting at $5. So $5, everything in this town is so expensive. So you could pay just $5 to get yourself a ticket to come see a fantastic show to support the arts. And there's a little celebration to meet all the artists, me, and other people that are there, where you can get that up close and personal kind of experience in the art world. So please come out.
What a wonderful way to celebrate, right? Can we put that picture of Trini back up? I need to show the world again. Look how cute he is.
Hey!
Hello, my name is Trini.
My God,
hello.
you look
Hi,
so
I can
good
play
there.
5 different instruments and the piano. Look at
And
me.
that is a recent picture. I took that not too long ago. I'm not, 20-year-old thing.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. BBC BBC cancels Doctor Who Christmas special amid major shakeup. The BBC has confirmed that the previously announced Doctor Who Christmas special has been canceled, but fans shouldn't worry. Another outlet could pick it up. In a statement released Tuesday, the broadcaster said the decision was made jointly with returning producer Russell T. Davis and production company Bad Wolf. Instead of producing a one-off special, the broadcaster said it would focus on investing in the future of the show so that when the TARDIS lands once more, it does so in all its glory. The move follows weeks of speculation after Davies hinted on a podcast that he would not film new projects until 2027. The BBC also confirmed that a Doctor Who preschool animated series remains in productions. Wow. Well, I mean,
Have you seen the show? Are you a
I
fan at all?
haven't seen it, so I really can't say much about it. But I mean, it sounds like they want to do something more elaborate, maybe, and put more into it. So I think that's probably a good thing.
And I think they've had like queer storylines, haven't they? Doctor
yeah.
Who?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, can't he travel in time and go fix this? Isn't that what Doctor Who does?
One would hope.
Listen, we have enough Christmas specials. Let's be real, all right? We're not gonna cry over our Cheerios over this, all right? Nobody on the table even saw the show. But now we're mad that we might not get this Christmas special. Okay, that's how we are.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up politics. Did a GOP governor sign America's first state anti-LGBTQ discrimination law? Spoiler alert. Yes! Republican Governor Lee Dreyfus approved the landmark legislation in February 1982, making Wisconsin the first state to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation. The bill was led by LGBTQ plus activist Democrat Assembly member David Clarenbach. Despite pressure from conservatives to veto, Dreyfus signed the bill into law. The measure made it illegal for the state and private businesses to discriminate in employment, housing, and public accommodations because of sexual orientation. According to the Milwaukee Public Library, no other state passed a similar law for another 9 years. This historical fact highlights a sharp contrast that many current Republican-led efforts across the U.S. targeting LGBTQ rights, especially involving transgender people. Happy Pride. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Yes.
So the GOP used to have a setting called Common Sense.
Oh, we'll have none of that.
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up lesbian and queer culture. Former Brazilian nuns leave convent, fall in love, and marry after years of friendship. 2 former novice nuns in Brazil shared their journey from convent life to marriage after falling in love years after first meeting. Francilia Costa and Luisa Silverio, known online as Double Wow or Dupla Oshewai, met in a convent in 2019. The pair admitted they initially disliked each other before becoming close friends while struggling with mental health challenges during convent life. The two left the convent together in 2020 and continued living together. In 2023, Costa realized her romantic feelings after the pair watched the film Love in the Villa. Costa admitted her feelings to Silverio, who kissed her in return. The couple married in 2025 and now share content online about faith, sexuality, and life after the convent. This is my favorite story of the hour. 2 non-lesbians together in love, filming content for all of us to see. It's just turning me on. Teresa, I'll be home in about hours. Hours.
What I love about this is that, growing up in my own very conservative, religious Christian world, is that a lot of times you don't even understand the feelings that you have and you're not processing them in the right way. And so once I think one of them said that when they saw a movie, they realized, oh, this is what romantic love is. Like, I'm gay. Like, this is what this is. I didn't understand it before because I think they left as friends. And then they realized the reason why they're so connected is because they're lesbian,
And they're hot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're Brazilian. Hello.
Yeah. And so I just remember that about my own stories, that not being able to even realize that I was gay until I was able to get out of the framework that I was, was being indoctrinated to me. So I love that story for them.
I don't know why I'm thinking about the Thornburgs with Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But this is like
that was a
this
great
is the
movie.
lesbian version, 2026. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, And I love that they've chosen to live their authentic truth. Can you imagine? They would have been some grumpy ass nuns.
And and a lot of nuns are grumpy. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was going to comment, but it's none of my business.
Ah.
As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers, that's you, for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We'd also like to thank the generous support of Jet's Pizza. John, get off my pizza. Jet's is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world telling these types of LGBTQ plus stories. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, happening out and Queer News Tonight. Who do I work for?
I'm your lead anchor, FayWhat, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors and family here at Queer News Tonight, including TriniDaddy, Rajee Narinesingh, and John Hayden. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you a great night.
Good night.